I can honestly say I've never seen cinematography like this before. Microphone's on, right? Oh man, I would have lost it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Film Fireside. The Vast of Night just dropped on Amazon Prime Video today. Finally, I'm like on top of it with a movie review. I can actually talk about it the day it's released, which is a goal of mine. I think that's a goal of anyone who wants to like critique movies. I want to be one of the first people talking about it, Which I probably not. There's probably plenty of others who are talking about it, but hey, you know what? It's all good. My voice, gonna add my voice into the mix because I love movies. That's what I do. The Vast of Night dropped. I watched it, and it's great. Honestly, it is. It's really interesting. I'm still kind of processing this movie. Gosh, there's just kind of a lot to take in. I think the main thing that sticks out to me is the cinematography in this film. There are very specific choices with the cinematography that are extremely unique. Some long shots, some extremely just quick cuts, which I guess that's more about editing. However, the main thing I'm saying is just the camera work, cinematography, editing, and even just the overall production design really take this film up quite a few notches for me. There isn't really anything about like the writing or acting or those elements that make it bland or boring necessarily. But this is a very simple story. It is what it is. And I love movies like that. It didn't seem like it was always trying to like push a big like thing on us, and especially with a film like this, I can definitely do that. The trailer I watched for it was pretty vague, so I'm trying to be vague in my explanation of the film. I don't really want to give much like of a plot line necessarily, because this is one of those films that may be nice to kind of go in not knowing anything about it, and I want to give you that opportunity if you're watching this before you have seen Vast of Night. So this film was technically released in 2019, but it was only released at like film festivals and places like that. Amazon, I guess, as I understand, Amazon picks it up and then released it on their streaming service as an Amazon original. I don't really know how that works exactly. So you can watch it on Amazon Prime now as an Amazon Prime original. It was being viewed at film festivals in 2019. However, it is technically widely released to the public in 2020. The other thing about this that I love, these filmmakers, writer and directors, this is their first project. As well, as far as IMDb is concerned, it is their first project. I didn't see them. They haven't worked on anything else other than this, and what a fantastic debut. The director of this film is Andrew Patterson, and the writers are James Montague and Craig W. Sanger. This seems like a first for that whole team, and they put out a fantastic film, a really fantastic film. This film, there've been a lot of like love letter films recently to kind of like golden age cinema. This specifically in many ways was a love letter to golden age science fiction. The beginning of the film, right off the bat, it makes some Twilight Zone references. And I think sprinkled throughout, there's a few just like subtle references to just kind of golden age science fiction. Very specifically, one I picked up, I don't know if this is intentional or not, this is just one I thought about. The radio station with one of the main characters works at is WOTW, and that made me think of War of the Worlds, which is a classic, as you know, especially for like radio and whatnot. So that's where the simpleness of the story comes in. It is just as basic science fiction as you can get of a story. I think what makes it unique though is just this modern day cinematography work and cinematography elements that are just really fascinating. And again, it's hard for me to talk about specifics without spoiling, and I really don't want to spoil things for you, but there is an instance they are getting information from a character through a telephone call, and there is a lot of explanation in this scene. And it really could have been one of those scenes where it's like, okay, they were just telling us what happened. And my thoughts were like, well, they maybe could have like cut away and let us see this guy's story happening as he's telling it. But they did something that I felt like was better, and that caused more attention, is that during this phone call, the camera would just sometimes just randomly fade to black, and we were just looking at a black screen listening to this guy talk and tell the story. And I thought that was a brilliant choice. Therefore, my imagination can just go as I'm listening to this guy tell me the story. So I thought that was a fantastic choice, a really fantastic choice. There's a simpleness to a lot of the decisions made, and I think the complexity of this film is within cinematography, editing, and just overall production design. Also, it's a really short film, so like the film happens and it is just kind of whoa, which I loved. I feel like that just added to the elements of like intensity and suspense that a lot of sci-fi thrillers of the golden age contributed to. I have a few negatives. I have a few problems with the film. One of them being Faye's character kind of makes decisions. I mentioned this in literally, I think, just my last video. There's decisions that serve what they want the end goal to happen, where they want things to end up. And there's just like 2 decisions she makes that are really kind of out there and like random and stupid and make you go, what are you doing? They did say, I would say it's not quite that bad though, as it was in Inheritance. It's what I was talking about before, because it's already kind of established that Faye's character is pretty just boom, go, act now, think later. So her making rash decisions, that's already been established. So for her to do that at the end of the film, where it was like, what are you doing? It makes a little more sense, but it's also like, I don't know, it was just weird. It was just extremely dumb and almost annoying. It's not a huge problem. I would just wonder if I see a better way to get to where they wanted to end up. There was a better way to get to that point. And I'm talking like the end of the film, and I don't want to spoil anything. There are a lot of different ways, especially within that specific scenario. I'm imagining. Okay, I'll just tell you. They end the film in a field, but they're in a car, and to get from the car to the field, those decisions are really rash and kind of not believable and a little out of place. There are a lot within the context. You may watch this and recognize this. Within context, or if you've already watched this, you may agree with me. Within this context and with what's happening, there are a lot of better ways to get them into that field if that's where they wanted to end up. But wasn't a huge deal. I got over it almost immediately. The other thing that was weird, I mentioned that there is a phone call that's extremely long, that is just a lot of explanation. I would say this film suffers from characters going to sit down and tell me everything. Literally just tell me everything that's happening. However, that is very much about the style, because I think this, as I mentioned, this is a tribute to Golden Age sci-fi, and also very specifically sci-fi was used on radio shows a lot. That was a very good tool. So to have a character just sit and explain things happening was very much radio, because I mean you couldn't really show, when listening to a radio show, you had to have characters just monologue and explain things, really just give you exposition by telling you what's happening. So I have mixed feelings about that. I think it's more or less that it just happens a lot. It feels like too much to me. Maybe that could have been lessened or tweaked a little bit, and it may have worked just a little bit better for me. But I mean, again, I'm over it now that I'm talking about it. But there were things that kind of affected my experience with the movie, and they may affect your experience with the movie. My score of The Vast of Night, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Wow! I really do recommend it. This is probably one of the better movies I've seen in a while. Thank you so much for watching this review. Coming next week, we're going to I'm going to dive into Knives Out, because that was recommended to me. I'm going to dive into Hail Caesar. That was recommended to me a long time ago. Those 2 films for sure. We may dip into some others. Thank you so much for watching. What did you think of The Vast of Night after you have watched it already? You're a fan? You're not a fan? Let me know. I'd love to hear and start a discussion with you in the comments. Give me your movie recommendations. I have quite a few coming up. I'm going to keep doing. I'm trying to do them in order that I receive them. I'm trying to keep track of that. But still, send your movie recommendations my way. I will watch them and review them. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Bye-bye.